Imagine going to bed as usual, dreaming peacefully, only to wake up and realize that something feels off. Your blanket suddenly feels like it's made of lead. Your pillow feels like it's trying to suffocate you, and just swinging your legs off the bed takes Olympic-level effort. That's because the pull keeping you down has doubled, and now everything weighs twice as much as it did yesterday. The first thing you'd notice is yourself. If you weigh 70 kilograms today, tomorrow you'll effectively weigh 140. Your bones and muscles were designed for normal Earth gravity, so they'd instantly start to struggle. Standing up would feel like carrying a friend on your back every moment of your life. Most people wouldn't even make it out of bed without collapsing in pain or exhaustion. But let's say you do make it up. Walking would be exhausting, running almost impossible, and jumping, well, forget about it. In fact, jumping wouldn't even exist anymore. Basketball would become the slowest, saddest sport on Earth. Buildings and infrastructure would also face serious problems. Skyscrapers are engineered with gravity in mind. Double the load, and you're looking at serious structural stress. Bridges would sag, concrete would crack, and elevators would suddenly have to lift cars that weigh twice as much. Cars themselves would burn through fuel just trying to roll down the street. Planes? They'd never take off. Even birds would have a hard time flying, and chickens everywhere would finally feel vindicated. Now, let's think about food. A simple trip to the grocery store would become a Herculean challenge. Pushing a shopping cart would feel like dragging a tank. Every item you pick up suddenly weighs double. A bag of apples becomes a workout session. And don't even think about carrying water bottles home. You'd need a forklift for that. Farmers would also struggle. Tractors might not work properly, plants might not be able to grow tall, and trees would risk collapsing under their own doubled weight. That means our food supply could quickly spiral into chaos. But people and buildings are just one part of the picture. Gravity affects the entire planet. With twice the gravitational pull, Earth's atmosphere would become denser. Air molecules would be pulled closer to the ground, making the air thicker. Breathing would feel heavy, like living at the bottom of a swimming pool. Weather patterns would change too, since winds and storms depend on pressure differences. Hurricanes might spin differently, rain might fall harder, and clouds could form lower in the sky. The oceans would also feel the squeeze. Twice the gravity would pull water down harder, raising sea levels slightly as the water compacts. Waves would crash with far more force. Tsunamis would be deadlier, and coastlines would be hammered relentlessly. If you thought surfing was dangerous before, now it would just be suicide with a stylish board. And then there's the human body, long term. Our skeletons would begin to break down. Spines would compress, making people shorter. Joints would deteriorate rapidly under the extra stress. Blood circulation would be affected too, since the heart has to pump against stronger gravity. Some people might not even survive the sudden change. Hearts and lungs simply aren't built for it. Evolution would eventually favor shorter, stockier, more muscular humans, kind of like hobbits who have been hitting the gym every day. Sports and entertainment would completely transform. Forget about high jump competitions. The new Olympic event would be who can stand up the fastest without collapsing. Trampolines would become medieval torture devices. Theme parks would shut down entirely because roller coasters would either fail to move or snap apart under their doubled weight. Children everywhere would be devastated, though parents might secretly celebrate. But perhaps the strangest effect of all would be on space exploration. Rockets are designed to fight against Earth's gravity. Doubling it would make escaping into space almost impossible with our current technology. The amount of fuel required would skyrocket, making launches absurdly expensive. Humanity's dream of colonizing Mars would come to an abrupt halt. Even satellites already in orbit would begin to spiral down toward Earth, since gravity would tug at them harder than their orbital speed could compensate for. Within weeks, the sky would become a graveyard of falling satellites, a fiery fireworks show nobody asked for. Animals would suffer in their own ways. Giraffes, with their tall, thin legs, would probably collapse almost instantly. Insects, on the other hand, might actually thrive. Their small size makes them less vulnerable to increased gravity. So the world might slowly shift toward being dominated by bugs. Imagine a future where ants build empires while humans crawl around barely able to lift themselves off the ground. Not exactly the future we were hoping for. On the other hand, let's Lou. At the bright side, double gravity would give Earth a tighter hold on its atmosphere, making it harder for it to escape into space. That could mean stronger protection from solar radiation. Falling over would also become far less embarrassing, because everyone would be doing it constantly. And weight loss businesses would finally go out of business. Nobody cares about dropping 5 pounds when gravity already made you gain 50 overnight. Ultimately, life as we know it would collapse quickly if gravity doubled. Civilization would grind to a halt. Survival would depend on rapid adaptation, advanced technology, and maybe a massive shift underground, where living conditions could be more stable. But if humanity somehow survived for generations, we'd evolve into a very different species. Shorter, tougher, stronger, and probably very angry all the time. So, what if gravity on Earth doubled overnight? Well, you'd wake up crushed by your own blanket, spend the rest of the day crawling to the kitchen, and wonder if it's even worth getting out of bed at all. In other words, it wouldn't just bring us down, it would keep us there.